Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Andrew Campbell. I'm a child, adolescent and family psychologist, and I work for the company Clear Horizons, which is located in Surrey Hills in Sydney. And today we're going to talk a little bit about coping as a new parent, also coping as a parent that's maybe had children before, and looking at the things that we can do to make our kids resilient and helping them to actually deal with life's problems as they go along the way. So who are we basically? I know this is a bit small, but all of this is on our website as well. We're a dedicated team of psychologists and youth specialists. Myself, I've been working for more than 10 years in the field of psychology. My partner, Jana, has been working for 3 to 4 years and is a specialist also in educational psychology as she's a school counsellor. We want to provide support for you and your family. So the thing that we know about psychology is that sometimes there's a bit of a stigma behind it. They think if I see a psychologist, there must be something wrong with my brain, I must be crazy. But really what we want you to know is that we're part of the health services team. So your GP looks after your body, we look after your brain. Basically, you could use this as a one-off service or you could use this as a lifetime service. We're there to help your family whenever you're in need when it comes to behavioural issues. We do a lot of counselling, we do assessments for children and parents. We've got parents tools, which we'll talk about today. We do a lot of product development in regards to research on how to improve childhood behaviour. And we also do seminars and workshops at schools and parents and citizen societies. We get results from evidence-based practice. Each and every one of us has been to university, we've all got our university degrees, and we're registered with the Australian Allied Health Professional, which is basically the body that governs all the medical practitioners out there. I want to start off by saying there's good days as a parent. This is me with my 2.5-month-old son, Hewan. And I just absolutely love waking up to him in the morning. Lately it's been pretty cold, so that's why the beanies. But there are more good days than bad days with kids, to be honest, when you add them all together. But when there are bad days, they're pretty disastrous. They're days that you just can't account for. You think you've got everything under control, and then that happens. So what do? The first thing you've got to do to be a good parent is look after yourself. We focus so much on looking after our children that we tend to forget ourselves. We put them first. And that's natural. That's really, really good. But if you break down, your kids break down. That's the most important thing to remember. So we've got a bit of a parent coping strategy that we teach at Clear Horizons. One is take time for you, have you time. And we realize that basically it's hard to grab a full hour in the day. It's next to impossible when you've got a child, especially an early child, who's not sleeping regularly, not eating regularly, having problems. But you need to take 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, where you literally stop for yourself and do something that you used to do. It could have been have a cup of coffee, watch a bit of a TV program, go for a walk. If you don't take 1 hour a day in total time, then you're at higher risk of suffering from stress that can lead to depression, anxiety, and many other problems, including marital discord. You've got to keep your nutrition up. 1 meal a day is not enough. But if you can at least make one of your 3 meals a day the most nutritious meal of the day and treat it as a reward, you'll keep your energy up for the next day. Sleep when you can, even at odd times. A lot of people think that that's good advice for just when you're an early parent. It's great advice whenever your child is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If they're asleep and you need a rest, grab a nap. Having sleep really re-energizes you. When you're emotional, it's absolutely important to remember that this too shall pass. A lot of parents break down because they actually think that what they're experiencing that's bad is never going to end. And that's really important for us to remember that it's only one moment in time. And when you add up the bad times, they're actually usually less than the good times themselves. It's just the bad times stay in your memory for longer. So you've got to remember and remind yourself this too shall pass. Communication is the key to good mental health. Saying you need help or you need validation of your feelings. Mums, I know from my own wife who gave birth only 3 months ago that the emotional roller coaster doesn't stop after birth. If anything, it keeps going. And one of the best things she told me to do, and she's a psychologist as well, and she had to remind me of this, was just to validate her feelings. To not necessarily, and this is for the dads out there, not try and fix everything, but just reassure that, hey, I'm going through it with you and we'll get through it. Be clear with directions to your partner to gain their support in times of stress. This is for the mums. When mums, you're really emotional and stressed and you can't really communicate very well because the words just don't come out, guys, work on a checklist. If you use a checklist, we'll follow it. If you say, I need help with this, and you say it very broadly, like, I need you to do house cleaning, we'll go, what house cleaning? We need to know specifically, oh, you want the dishes washed and you want it done by 6 o'clock. It helps with communication, it helps with us to support you. One of the things we've got at Clear Horizons, and we're over today at booth G42, is a bunch of parenting tools that are very, very cheap and they're evidence-based. And when we say evidence-based, other parents have used them, we've scientifically measured them to work, there's something that we tell all our clients about. One of them is the Practical Parenting Manual written by Jana. Jana has been dealing with parents with young kids and teenagers for quite some time. And so she's put together a nice compendium of tips from 0 to 25. That's right, your kids grow into teenagers and then adults and they're still frustrating. So we need parenting tips to look at how to guide them through the healthy stages of life as well as the more difficult stages such as puberty. And that can include things that you can't account for if you've got a resilient child, such as bullying at school, or things that you feel are going to stress them later on down the track, such as direction in regards to what they might want to do after school, which can sometimes bring on mental illness because they feel they don't know what they want. The Parenting Practical Manual includes quotes from previous people that we've worked with, including mothers and other people such as children that we've treated, to say what was good and what was bad about directions in parenting. For $10, it's very cheap. We usually sell it for $15. If you come down to the stall today and talk to us, we've got some other great stuff as well to show you. I'm going to hand over now to Jana, who's going to pick up on her favorite topic, which is resilience. How to make our kids really tough mentally to deal with life stresses.
So it's so important that your children learn good coping strategies as they go through their developmental stages, because they're going to be faced with so many different challenges, and in a child's mind that can be really overwhelming, even if it's something basic like how to socialize with kids at school. So resilience is about learning to adapt to change and not just cope, but actually learn from a challenge and persevere through it. So we know that 1 in 4 people suffer from a mental illness or know of someone suffering. That's a huge statistic. But if you apply some really core coping strategies early on in a child's life, you prevent them from having to go through those really damaging experiences later on. So common stresses for a child include learning how to resolve conflict, dealing with homework tasks and performance anxiety, learning rules in your home and your expectations, learning to interact with their peers, adapting to family dynamics, and establishing their own identity and confidence, which is something huge and so vital. So what makes a resilient child? Someone who likes themselves, who thinks their thoughts are valuable, who can express their feelings, who's motivated and perseveres through these challenges, who has empathy for others and can appreciate individual differences, who has a sense of purpose and meaning. And obviously these things develop as you get older, but these are signs of a child that can cope through challenges, has an awareness of their strengths and understands their limitations and can work around them. But in terms of the family environment, it's so vital that you've got a good quality bond with your child and you allow them to explain their feelings to you openly. You have consistent boundaries, and you're perfectly entitled to have that as a parent and maintain control. Within being reasonable, of course, having a good positive role model, having a proactive school environment where you can go to the principal and your teachers and express your concerns to them. Having positive peer influences, of course, is so vital, especially in the adolescent years. Having a connection to a community or religious group has been shown in resilience literature to be another mark of a resilient child, because it's that sense of belongingness that child has. And how the family approaches adversity is also a really good indication of how they'll cope through challenges themselves. So this is just another tool that we're selling in our booth in G42. It's how to manage challenging behaviors, whether it's a 2-year-old right through to 12. It is a rewards chart, but it's not like any other. It's been carefully planned and designed by hand to show, ensure engageness, that your child is engaged. You write down the side what you expect for your child. You have small rewards and big rewards for them. And as they go through the journey, you use your discretion to reward them appropriately. Children love this, like I said, because it's engaging. And on the side, there are instructions for how to go through this so you're not so overwhelmed, and why rewards charts are a good tool to use for monitoring challenging behavior. So we also have workshops that we run, particularly for kids that are experiencing low self-worth, or they might be going through bullying or peer pressure, They might be at risk of taking negative influences. So our Strive High workshops aim to build self-esteem, positive thinking strategies, and that empathy and assertiveness in that child. So we deal with a range of issues, and the next intake is on Monday the 2nd and 9th of July. We have 2 groups running, and that's at our Surrey Hills base. So it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. We get so encouraged by parents that want to learn how to promote good mental health. We find that there's a huge stigma, and it doesn't need to be that way. It is so normal to have problems, and as soon as parents understand that, and children, it just really opens up positive development for them. So thanks again for having us, and you're done as well? Okay, thank you. We look forward to seeing you.